our motherland. I swear by Allah. End of quote. Adino Juan, a specialist on Somalia, has this explanation for the explosions.
The explosions that went off in Baidoa after the town had been captured by Ethiopia shows that the Al-Shabaab are keeping their army, but they will revert to the whole tactics of hit and run. So it means that forces from outside must prepare themselves to fight insurgency war, not just formal war.
With such preparations yet to be put in place by African Union forces, as well as Kenya and Ethiopian troops, another Somali specialist, Sheikh Abdulwahab Sheikh Abdi Samad, has this interpretation of the explosions.
Right now, we are sending a message. We are going to cause a panic. I will continue what we call the checks and rise. We are going to show they have support among the population, and they are going to continue. We are going to show they are there. That's exactly the message they are sending to the world. They have been there for the last 3 years, and they have a lot of support inside. They are still very strong.
While Al-Shabaab militants remain strong, the United Nations Security Council has authorized the African Union to increase the number of troops in Somalia from 12,000 to 18,000. British Ambassador to the United Nations, Mark Liel Grant, says the African Union force in Somalia, known by its acronym as AMISOM, will put military pressure on Al-Shabaab militants.
AMISOM needs support to help it work with the Somali security forces to secure a more stable and peaceful Somalia.
But according to United States representative at the UN, Susan Rice, Somalia's problems are not likely to be solved by strengthening AMISOM military force.
The transitional federal government must seize the opportunity provided by AMISOM and the Somali National Security Forces. There must be no extension of the TFG's mandate beyond August 20th.
August 20th is the date when the mandate given to the Somali Transitional Federal Government, TFG, by the international community runs out.
James Manila in Nairobi. World leaders meeting in London to discuss Somalia's future said on Thursday the world's security is at stake if the international community fails to end Somalia's chaos. British Prime Minister David Cameron, who was hosting the conference, said the world now had an unprecedented opportunity to change Somalia. DW Head of Amharic Service, Lutka Shadomski, was at the conference, and I asked him what came out of the meeting.
Well, frankly, the most important achievement of this conference in London took place yesterday at the United Nations in New York, because this was the adoption of the Resolution 2036, extending the mandate of the AMISOM force. Obviously, there was considerable pressure on the UN Security Council to approve this mandate before the conference took place today in London. Other than that, quite frankly, it was yet another conference on Somalia. We've seen a number over the past years. Leaders did agree on a number of measures. A counter-terrorism center will be set up to tackle the issue of piracy. There will be measures against money laundering, against corruption of government officials, and also leaders agreed to set up a local stability fund to help areas now freed from Al-Shabaab.
And how are Somalis taking this latest intervention? Does it get anywhere?
Listening to the final press conference by the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, the British Prime Minister David Cameron, and the Somali Prime Minister, it became quite clear that this conference was not so much about Somalia, but it was chiefly about Great Britain. There's a considerable security concern in London that radicalized British Somali passport holders will be targeting the Olympics in July in London. A number of British nationals of Somali origin have traveled to Somalia to be trained by Al-Shabaab. And it was very clear listening to Prime Minister David Cameron that this is chiefly about security in Great Britain, not so much about the humanitarian and the political crisis in Somalia.
So in other words, there was less focus on Somalia, on tackling Somalia's problems, rather than just securing the security of Europe and the West.
Yes, the conference was criticized even before it took off for not having drawn up a roadmap for the time beyond the mandate of the current transitional federal government. It expires in August, and basically all this conference did was to sort of map out the way towards August.
Dr. Shadomsky, head of DW, I'm Harry Travis.
Analysis, background, information and more. Log on to DW.am, your first choice on the web.
Germany on Thursday expressed its concerns on Senegal's upcoming Sunday elections. Germany's Foreign Minister Guido Westerwelle said his country